Well,
hey,
talk about getting caught with your pants down on the way. I hit the let's get out of the opening button instead of getting into the opening button. So like, surprise, we were on screen like right away, and then like hit the
I didn't notice.
button.
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah, he's making sure
I'm posting.
Hey, I'm Rokos.
I'm stirring the pot.
I'm RJ Murdoch.
And I'm stirring the pot.
And boy, you guys could see some of our pre-shows. It's pretty good.
We pretty much did the whole show pre-thing. We solved a lot there, and we talk about all of our local politicians, like, and all the drama they bring to the show and bring to the table.
And we have one who's coming on.
Oh,
board.
look at that! There's one right there.
He's going to join. We can't hear him right now because we're actually live, but we can't see him. But just have to make sure that his camera is not pointing slightly down so that we could
talk about a politician that likes to bring a lot of controversy to the table.
So if you haven't read the post already on the Emerald Coast TV Facebook page, what's up, Emerald Coast TV? It is Nathan Boyles. Will be bringing on our county commissioner to give us an update of what's happening in the county, and he is live coming on. Should we just go ahead and bring Nathan on board?
Man, he's a busy guy. We don't need to be talking about anything else except
he's going to give us a thumbs up when he's ready.
Listen, hold on, time out. He's the only thing we have going that makes us remotely legit.
Okay, well, his
audio. Wait a minute. Where is
his audio?
Where is the bunker? Last time you were in a bunker, and there was like this fallout shelter thing, and what happened? Where you're like in you look like you're John Oliver in his
and he got dressed
bland. Yeah, he's in his bland office somewhere.
He's got his jacket on, everything else. He's ready for the show.
He went from a private office to a public office, right?
You figured it out.
Don't tell me you don't watch out for our tax dollars, buddy.
All right,
County beige back here.
Yep. So you just got out of the county commissioner meeting. I was watching it online here as we were waiting for the show to start here. So lots of topics to talk about today. We even got a copy of the agenda.
Look at you. He's all organized for me. He's got a copy of the paper, the agenda.
But what are some of the highlights that you can tell us about with this meeting that happened today?
Well, I mean, highlights, we could start with the fact that there were only, I think, either 4 or 5 F-bombs dropped during the first 7 minutes of the meeting. Once you got to catch that little outburst.
By commissioners? By commissioners?
No. I get aggravated up there, but I try not to get that aggravated. No, one of our favorite constituents, longtime visitor to commission meetings, occasionally has to be removed by the deputy, and had a bit of an outburst today. So that always warms things up, gets everybody nice and loose. It's going to be a good Tuesday morning when it starts off with somebody being removed from the meeting by the deputy.
Somehow I must have came in right after that because you guys were talking about dollars being used for something.
That just speaks to the quality of it just speaks to the passion of the people that live in Okaloosa County, Nathan. And you got to give them credit for bringing that much energy representing. Never mind. What happened today? Tell us what happened today.
Okay, so. I will, we did get an update. So we did this county grant, right, to help out small businesses. Wasn't as big as I'd wanted it to be and wasn't as fast as I'd wanted it to be, but they've got it moving now. We had set aside $100,000 in, I think, up to $2,500 grants to small businesses, the ones that really kind of fall into the donut hole and we're not getting much in the way of federal assistance. And as of today, we had handed out $80,000 in grants to, I think, 20-something businesses. There are about 10 or 15 more applications that are pending being approved. And so I was really happy to see that, as you're moving about the county, there are going to be businesses who maybe are able to stay in business and bridge the gap coming out of the COVID shutdown. That are able to stay here and be a part of that business community because of that little bit of help from county government. So
sure,
that was a bit of good news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that it?
That's
all the good news?
That was it. Yeah, no, then it got boring. No, we did get our annual CAFR, which is our financial update, boring stuff, frankly. But this being, I think, my 8th time enduring that process, I can tell you every year it has gotten better. The county was in some pretty tough spot when I got elected 8 years ago, post Mark Bellinger. Since then, it's an entirely new cast of characters and a lot of emphasis on transparency and getting the financial house in order. And so we got a clean bill of health on the audit back from our auditors this year. And so that was obviously a good thing to see. We don't have as much in reserve as I would like, but other than that, we're in good financial shape here in Okaloosa County.
Excellent. Nathan, let me cut to a couple of chase of the topic. I appreciate the update and on the county stuff there. We're in midsummer and things. When we last talked, we were just about to open the doors to invite people back. We were still talking about short-term rentals and all that's going on. So speak to the progress, what you're hearing in the county, and I say that with the shadow of the fact that it's public information, and I asked you last time, will we continue to report cases and stuff for the COVID-19 in the county? And so far, it's still on some website, I find, so somebody's not shutting it entirely down. But in that light, is there talk amongst the county commissioners of how you watch what's going on? We're busy.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive down 98, it's Wednesday, or what is today, Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, driving in on 98, we'll go to a live shot of Crab Island. It's packed on a Tuesday, which last summer, even during the middle of the week, it wasn't packed. So we're exceptionally packed. I know we are a gem of the Southeast, and everybody's coming. So how do you monitor that in light of, hey, there's the numbers are going up?
I was actually watching it beforehand, so they actually got a full briefing about the current COVID situation. Are you able to go ahead and speak to that for the most part?
Yeah. So, numbers have gone up. Obviously, they're not going to go down when you're talking about cumulative numbers of infections. And we are seeing, I think, the results of increased testing in Okaloosa County right now. So I don't think I'm seeing any data that indicates to me that we're having any type of substantial outbreak or community spread. What we're really just seeing is, frankly, the fruits of getting out there, aggressively offering free testing in all corners of the county. So as a result of that, our overall positive test numbers have increased, and we're pushing towards the 300 mark of total cases, and we're not there yet. What I've been watching, and I think is an important metric, both been the number of active hospitalizations and then the number of the active folks who are either in intensive care or on a ventilator. Those numbers have remained very, very stable. And in fact, I think as of today or yesterday, there were 3 people in hospitals in Okaloosa County diagnosed with COVID-19. And so there is more than adequate hospital capacity right now to deal with the number of active infections. And I think, frankly, that's what we need to keep an eye on, frankly, not a notion that we're going to solve the problem or prevent anyone from getting COVID-19. We've got to let our economy run, but we need to do so in a way that's keeping as many people as safe as we can. And the way we're going to do that largely is by making sure that we've got adequate medical equipment and adequate medical capacity. When those numbers start to rise, I think that's when we'll need to take a critical look at if there's adjustments we need to make economically in order to keep people safe.
And from what I heard from the meeting as well, that those numbers, the larger numbers that we're getting, are also now a younger set of population that's being tested more so than before, where it was more people that were dealing with the illness and coming to the hospitals. Now that we've opened up testing throughout the county, you're getting a lot more younger people getting involved with it. Plus also businesses are saying, hey, you're not so good. Go get yourself checked out.
Right. So Nathan,
that's right. And again, so you can just drive up. We have these drive up testing locations. It's free of charge. You don't even have to get out of your car, and so that is going to drive more folks to go get those tests. Absolutely.
So Nathan, I appreciate that answer because I'm a science freak about a lot of things, and the economy, the economy behind science and how they work together. So your answer right there about monitoring what happens in the hospitals, that's the number that matters. I mean, I know that we're going to get plenty of people testing positive. That's what a virus does, and younger age groups are going to be able to fight it themselves, et cetera. And I'm not trying to advocate against anything about adjusting the economy. And I'm going to make RJ here take a deep exhale because I want to change the subject. But I do commend you, because that's the ticket, is the watching what actually happens to people that get really sick. When those numbers really get up there, that's when I hope we kind of reevaluate where we are. Because as far as I'm concerned, even though we're a small county in the big world of things, this turns into a big city for the months of June, July, and August. There's 250,000 people going through town every day, so it's a small city at least. But let me change the subject, because you brought up the issue of the transparency a minute ago. The next big topic is obviously about how, like, the sheriff's departments and all around the world, around the country, behave in their communities and doing their job. We had a couple shows ago where I talked a lot. I commended our sheriff's department, Sheriff Ashley, what he's done in the past. We're one of the highest DUI number counties in the state of Florida. That reflects both the number of bars and restaurants and all activities here, and the partying in boats and stuff, and the job they do. Going forward, how much does our county report police activity according to the federal law that they're supposed to? Or are we one of the many counties that doesn't bother to report? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and honestly, I don't know the answer. I think one thing that is important to remember, and citizens often overlook this, is the constitutional separations created here in Florida. And so what the county commission has, is some authority over approving a budget for the sheriff. But the sheriff's office is a completely independent constitutional officer who's elected by the citizens and then directly accountable to the citizens. And so when it comes to issues at that level, those are going to be issues that are ultimately going to be controlled by or dictated by the sheriff. As you know, we have a really good relationship with the sheriff here in Okaloosa County. I think we've got a good group of law enforcement that tries to do the right thing and tries to follow the law. Certainly. I'll defer to Sheriff Ashley on that issue. As you know, we're going to have a new sheriff in town here.
Yes, we are.
You just wanted to say that.
He was uncontested. Yeah. Right. What was the gentleman's name again?
After it didn't work out, so.
That's part of the reason why I asked. I mean, I realize it is a separate institution, so to speak, but I just didn't know if the county, as all this is becoming a social issue. I mean, we have a population of 100-some thousand people that are going to have something to say, and I don't know if I was just curious if that chatter has reached your desk at all, as people ask the question about what is the word I'm looking? The accountability to performance. Does that go from the sheriff's desk to the state? Does the county have any kind of oversight on that at all? Not necessarily in the budget, but in the performance and such like that.
No. Interestingly, in Florida, completely separate and distinct. And I have argued at times that frankly there are some thin spots in that model. And so while it's good to have that direct accountability to the public through a singular elected official, the fact that you have a singular elected official with as much authority as sheriffs do have in Florida, can create its own level of wrinkles. And so, for example, we approve a budget for the sheriff with line items as to how he intends to spend those dollars. Yeah. Once that budget is approved, the sheriff has the full and complete authority to spend those dollars differently than they're approved in his budget. Now, he can't spend more money than we approved, but he is not required to come back to us and say, for example, if he was going to spend $40,000 on an officer this year in his budget to us, but then he changes his mind and decides to buy a police cruiser instead, that does not require of any type of budget amendment. He effectively has to report none of his activities, financial or otherwise, back to the county commission once his budget is approved annually. The oversight that does occur in addition to the citizens through election is through the governor's office. And the governor, pursuant to the Florida Constitution, does obviously maintain the ability to remove a sheriff from office for misfeasance or malfeasance.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for clarifying that. So, I appreciate your candidness to it. I wasn't trying to catch you off guard. I just know it's a big topic. It's on everybody's TV, and it's on the cover of the paper pretty much every day right now. And again, I go back to the fact that we did a couple weeks ago we've had 2 shows where we've talked about the sheriff's department here and commending them on the work that they do. And I think they kind of, I'd almost say that they lead the way in the state of Florida. Not that they don't have a lot of improvement that they could certainly make, because we always do, and then whenever
even our local police officers as well, not just the county sheriffs.
That is correct. That is correct. It's not just the county. I'm not trying to single anybody out. I'm just talking about the county commissioner's role within it and overseeing any of it. So it started with Nathan bragging about how much he's made a difference on the 8 years of the county. So I was seeing how far his fingers have reached.
Hey, and I know
just being fair, buddy.
This next topic may be a little bit boring.
Listen, jackass.
Fair enough.
I know Nathan Sparks got a chance to talk, and I know probably it's all about numbers, but it's talking about businesses in Okaloosa County. Can you kind of summarize basically what was it that Mr. Spark was bringing up?
Yeah, so no, this is a big deal. So we you have the Shoal River Ranch up in North Okaloosa County, which is in total, I think, like 12,000 acres of land on the east side of Crestview, bordered by Highway 90 to the north, and actually goes all the way down and across I-10. And really a prime piece of property, and portions of it potentially for development. Okaloosa County, I think 2 years ago, we took an option to purchase a large portion of that property in an effort to kind of spur some large-scale economic development. The idea being to focus on some type of very large, advanced job creator, some type of maybe clean manufacturing or something similar to that. That option is running out, and so we now have to exercise that option or give it up. And so the vote today was to exercise that option as to about 623 of those most prime acres that are out there on that property. And some viewers may remember this is the property that we are extending water and sewer capacity to using a Triumph Gulf Coast grant. And we've got a very large potential candidate that is looking at that site very hard right now. You know, these big national or international businesses, when they're looking at building a factory that may cost $50-75 million and employ several thousand people, they do an extensive amount of due diligence, and they usually go through multiple processes where they'll disqualify different sites as they kind of narrow down. And we've made it through now with this latest company through several rounds of that process and are still in the fight. In fact, we're the only site that remains in Florida in competition for this particular potential development. And so it's important that we have all the pieces together, have the property identified, have it actually available for industrial development, have a price identified, and then have the necessary utility infrastructure available. And today's vote was to move forward with that acquisition, again, about 623 acres. And we'll continue then to leverage that property, trying to find the right business to come in that would broaden our economy, create high-paying jobs, and do so in a way that obviously would protect our quality of life and our environment.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
That's some good news. You. That's the kind of stuff I've been looking for in your 8 years, Nathan. So that's perfect. That's fantastic. I mean, that's the kind of stuff as an entrepreneur, when you hear what Nathan is talking about, then you go, my first thought is, what can I build there? What can I be part of?
I'm thinking a nationwide distribution of pizza, frozen pizza.
Okay, well, I don't know about that. I was thinking more of a bigger studio that we could work out of, and then Nathan could actually drive to the studio more often, but that's fair enough. So is there anything in that process that the people of the county can do other than just pray or just be patient? And is there anything we can do? And the reason I ask that is I remember back when we were trying to get Southwest here, there was a big push that the county populace, get a big push behind something like that. Is there anything that people can do at an event like this right now?
Well, I think people are doing it right now. I think the good news is I think we built back a lot of trust that had been lost in local government, and so I think what I've seen on an issue like this is the constituents of Okaloosa County are giving us the space and the trust that we need to make decisions. We're talking about, an acquisition that's going to cost several $1 million. Those public money, those are taxpayer dollars. And the fact that, I haven't had anybody send me, nasty emails that they're going to get me unelected.
That's because you kicked him out. That's because you kicked him out of the meeting.
I think frankly, folks are doing it. I think that's obviously a two-way street, but, have a little bit of faith. Let us make what we hope are these good decisions. Sometimes you have to be willing to let us kind of take a long-term play. Some of these decisions simply aren't going to, pay a dividend overnight. And being willing as a county, as a community, to kind of make those strategic investments in our future, that's really what we need.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, so anything you want to leave us with that came out from the meeting that you think the public should know about that don't necessarily get the paper, or all they do is watch our show?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll close with an item that was not on the agenda. And so these are the ones you usually have to watch for when we get to the end of the meeting and we get to our commissioner minute, which is where we get to talk about anything that we want to, which can sometimes be dangerous. But today, that sparked a really good discussion about expanding the bed tax district in Okaloosa County. Now, this discussion has kind of started and stopped several times in the last few years. Most recently, it was stalled because the county commission made the decision to give the school board the space that they needed in the upcoming election to try and get their sales tax referendum passed. And there was concern about voter confusion if you had two tax items on the agenda. But the commission today directed staff to bring back options to look at either putting expansion of the bed taxing district on the March 2021 municipal election ballot, or alternately actually doing a mail-out ballot where we would mail to every registered voter a ballot question about whether or not they want to expand the bed tax district in Okaloosa County. This issue is huge for creating additional revenue for things like public safety and for infrastructure that serves and supports tourists. As of now, our bed taxing district is limited to south of Choctawhatchee Bay and generally in the areas to the east of Fort Walton Beach. And so, those areas out along Santa Rosa Sound on the western side of Okaloosa County, and then also Niceville, Valparaiso, Crestview, all of those areas are currently excluded from the bed taxing district. And we lose, estimates are millions of dollars annually in revenue from folks that are staying in those hotel rooms that could help support infrastructure and additional job development here in Okaloosa County.
And we've had a boom of hospitality hotels and places north of the Choctawhatchee Bay,
Yes.
as elsewhere. And Crestview is becoming a hub. So, yeah,
Yes.
I can see that as well.
Nathan,
And, there's been talks about partnering with the city of Crestview on a regional sports complex. There's lots of really innovative things that we could do to both expand the recreational opportunities within our county and our economic base if those dollars are available.
Yeah, a sports complex would be great. And I know a guy that's got a bunch of acreage up there they've got an option on, so that would be fantastic. So just one thing you brought up about the bed tax, and I know it's always been a controversy. Is there any headway on discussing where places like Airbnb and stuff like that can avoid the bed tax and address that in the county? Is that a local issue? Is that a state issue? How does the county address that?
Yeah, so obviously that issue starts at the state. The state's ability to, the state has the ability to pass regulation. It's their statute that creates the bed tax. Counties are very constricted based upon that statutory language. What we can do at a local level is aggressively enforce against those that the statute allows us to enforce against that are not out there collecting the bed tax as they should. And we do have, that function is currently housed within the tax collector's office, and he does have staff that is dedicated to that effort of reaching out to those partners, identifying those that maybe have not been paying either because they weren't aware or because they were trying to avoid it, and then seeing to it that that tax is being collected. The state has made some headway. There tends to be kind of an annual back and forth in the legislature on kind of arriving at some type of agreement with you mentioned the Airbnbs of the world, the VRBOs of the world, arriving at some type of agreement or alternately legislation that's directed specifically at them They, of course, want to consider themselves platforms and try to avoid those fees if possible.
Right.
By and large, as I understand it, those units are collecting taxes here in Okaloosa County, and we are seeing to it that they are being remitted.
Fair enough. So,
Okay.
So as we end the show here, one, thank you for your time. I really am a fan of what you do, and I think you do a great service to the people of the county. I'm not just saying that because I'm opening a pizza joint. You got to drive by all the time. But I do want to ask, since the end of that, you said that the information about that bed tax was being sent out in the mail, like a mail-in ballot type of thing.
Oh, it's a mail-in ballot to get it on the agenda or the ballot.
So for the record, can I ask if you are then in favor of mail-in ballots?
Oh.
Thank you. Jackass is out. You don't have to answer that. I was trying to end the show. I was ending the show.
Well, then, have a fabulous day, and I'll see you soon.
Hey, man, thanks for being here, buddy. And if
Next-
anything we can do to get that information out, get it to us so we can put it on our website, and we'll be happy to do our part in any way we can help.
And
you.
hopefully next time the meeting will go on a little bit faster, and we can get you in the studio here, because that
There
would
you
be
go.
awesome as well.
Yeah,
So-
if you don't have to kick so many people out, you could be here. If you just, maybe you can hire a doorman. I got a guy. Let me know.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do our show from there.
Yeah, that would be
With them in
fantastic.
the background as we're doing live commentary.
Thank you, Nathan.
Be scary.
Have a great Tuesday, my friend.
Take care, my friend.
All right. Take care. Be good.
I had to get in there. If he's going to bust my chops, he's the one guy that I think is he's fair about that. So I give him a lot of points, man. He's he not only works hard at his business in the county, but he does it as a politician in the county. And if we can only have a pile like him, we could get a lot further faster. So I'll just say that.
You said a pile of him.
Pile of politicians.
A pile of politicians.
Although, see, if I
was
say
thinking-
that, then
I was thinking
that's
you were
a
saying-
scary
I was just thinking
concept.
steam coming off this pile.
No,
here.
not
So,
that
okay.
pile. No, not that pile. But when you have a pile of politicians, you get nothing done. But if you had a bunch of Nathans, I think we could get a lot done because he brings a lot of sensibility. I've been a fan since the day he started. So and the fact that he can bust my chops, he can take punches as well as he
And
gives
if
them.
you ever get a chance to actually watch a county commissioner meeting online,
Yeah.
live, at least with Nathan on there, it brings the entertainment level up.
Yeah.
I'm going to say entertainment, but at least the interest level up.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
he's always got a
There's
great
some
take on things.
There's a level of candid to the show that normally can be a very boring enterprise, and he certainly brings a little bit extra to it. So
All right.
that's
Well,
our show for today.
That's our show for today. I hope you're
There were
enjoying
no
us.
special days. There's our shameless
Yeah, if you're
plugs.
watching us live on Emerald Coast
Share the
TV
show
Facebook
because
page.
we had a real politician, and stay rational, my friends.
Yes, absolutely.
That's simple.
And National Days just wasn't a lot. today.
Nothing. Nothing.
National Fudge Day. So we're
Yeah.
talking about a pile of fudge.
What? You skipped National Fudge Day?
Yeah, well,
you did that on purpose.
I did
I think
not.
you're calling me fat.
Nope. Believe me, I'll pull it on up here. Here we go.
Okay.
National Fudge Day.
There you go.
So,
It's kind of anticlimactic since you said there were no days, but that's all right.
well, I mean, there's just the one.
Why
I
is
mean-
National Fudge Day right in the dead middle of summer?
But it's got its own day. It's not sharing it with anybody else.
That's a good point.
How cool is that?
That's a good point. That's still.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us. Feel free to put your comments on whether you agree or disagree or have topics you'd like us to talk about, or just say hey, because we appreciate that. So you guys have a great day, and
Stay rational, my friends.
tomorrow's going to be an interesting
I
show.
already pulled that one once.
Take care.